Hey you beautiful people, welcome back to a new video on our channel Read Travel Become. So non-fiction books are written in such a way that they have a lot of information in them. They are dense reads, right? It takes some time to complete them. But in this video, I'm going to share very short non-fiction books which you can finish in a day. So I know it takes a lot to write a non-fiction book. So I feel it's very difficult to spread a message in very few words. And these books which I'm going to share hit the spot exactly. All of these books are so brilliantly written that you would learn something new from each of them. And trust me, all of these books are less than 150 pages. Some of them are 100, some of them are less than 100. So they are very short books which you can definitely finish in a day. They are very thin books. This video is going to be very interesting. These books are new recommendations. This is a new format. You might have heard me talking about thin fiction books, but let's talk about thin non-fiction books. Make sure you watch the video till the end. You may never know which thought or fact may resonate with you and change the course of your life. So let's get started. The first book on this list is called The Dip by Seth Godin. Now, Seth Godin is a brilliant marketing guy. He has written books about marketing, how to navigate a product market fit and all of those ideas. But he has also written some very good strategy books which tell you how to think. This very short book but profound book is about the idea that maybe yes, you are putting in a lot of efforts, you are working hard towards your goal, you have all the things right, but you are just not meant for that particular thing. So you are basically in a dip. So in a dip, when you're present in a dip, however hard you try, you're not able to cross that barrier. So he has talked a lot about this particular concept, that how quitting is also very important, how understanding that if you are in a dip, get out of that dip quickly and find out a new hill to climb. I like the idea of this book a lot, and it's very short, but it's again very profound. So yes, you can definitely read this book. The next book on the list is a very profound exploration of British Raj, British rule in India. The book is called The Case for India, which is written by Will Durant. Now, Will Durant is a very interesting historian and author. I first came to know about Will Durant through The Light from Many Lamps. He has a whole section about his philosophies. So he was a very interesting guy. You know what he did? During the early 1900s, he wanted to write an 11-volume book about the history of civilization. He basically wanted to write a biography of civilization, like whatever is happening around the world, not just in his country in America, but all around the world. So he and his wife collaborated on 11 volumes of the history of the world, in which they cover the Western history, Eastern history, all parts of the world. While he was on this journey, he came to India. He came to the shores of India in 1930 and first-hand experienced how the British people were harassing Indians during that time. So he has written a very short book called The Case of India regarding that. It's a must read. You would get to know from a third-person perspective how the British Raj, the British East India Company ruled over India. I like how even from a third-person perspective, it's strongly resonant towards India. It is the argument is towards Indians that yes, British Raj was unfair. It was an injustice to the people of India, and what all happened during that time. It's written in a very good format. It's divided in 4 sections. He's talked about how they came, how they conquered, and how the revolutions happened. He's talked a lot about Gandhian principles from the third-person perspective. So brilliant read. Especially students should read this, and I like that it's from a third-person perspective, because generally if you write either from a British view or from an Indian view, there comes a sense of nationality, a sense of you belonging to that particular nation. But because Will Durant is such a brilliant historian, you must read this book. It's a very short book. Next on the list is one of my favorite comfort books. The book is called The Book of Simple Living by Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond has popularized hills of Mussoorie and Himachal like nobody else has. This book is just his simple musings. He has just written very simply about the nature around him, about the little birds around him, about the hills around him, little characters here and there. It's very refreshing. It's a very refreshing. It's like his personal memoir where he's finding beauty in little things. So one of the best comfort books, and in the non-fiction category, it's a great read for a short book. So yeah, I highly recommend reading A Book of Simple Living by Ruskin Bond. Next on the list is a very popular book. You might have heard about this book. A lot of self-help gurus talk about this book, but this book is not bad. It's not bad in a conventional way. It's actually very good. The idea of the book is very good. The book is called Who Moved My Cheese? You might have heard of this. It's a story about him and her, 2 mice who are finding their cheese. The book is talking about one simple thing, which is change. How we can navigate changes in our life. Like change is the only constant in life, that particular concept. It's told to us through a story format. So technically it's not a non-fiction, but because it's about the concept of change, that's why I am putting it in the non-fiction category. It's told through the story of two mice. So brilliant read, very very short read, but it will definitely make you think, and whenever you experience a change in life, it will remind you of this particular book because it's written in that way. So yes, great book. Next on the list is Collected Gulzar Poems. Again, very short book, but brilliant. You can feel the power of words, the way Gulzar writes, the way his thoughts articulate themselves, manifest themselves through his words, is extremely powerful writing, extremely powerful poetry. I just love how he writes. Not just like the traditional poetry scenes. Even you see some of the Bollywood songs that he has written. There's a song in Manti Aur Bubbly where there is an antara which is written like चांद से होकर सड़क जाती है, उसी पे आगे जाके अपना मकान होगा. Words like these are what make you believe that he is a great writer, and his mind is just truly magical, truly fantastical, because it's very very hard to contemplate the universal beauty, to contemplate this huge beauty into very simple words. Gulzar makes it so simple. He uses the most simple words to share extraordinary ideas. So that's what I love about Gulzar's poems. It's not just this book, but you can find a lot of his poetry around, a lot of his essays around. You can definitely check them out. Next on the list is again a book which is very dear to my heart. The book is The Last Lecture by Randy Pausch, Professor Randy Pausch, who's not here with us. So Professor Pausch was diagnosed with a certain disease, and he knew that he was going to die, and he was a professor at Carnegie Mellon University. He gave his last lecture in the university, and this lecture is basically transcribed in the form of a book. There's also a YouTube video which you can find on this last lecture. It's a very very uplifting and motivating lecture. Beautifully sad, like you know that the professor is going to die, but he still is so hopeful in life, and some of the things that he has shared will always stay with you. Beautiful book, very small book, but very very hard hitting book. In fact, when I visited Carnegie Mellon, I made sure that I go to that hall where he gave the last lecture. In fact, he was a proponent of connecting arts and sciences. You know, he was the one who was an artist as well as a scientist, a mathematical mind. So Carnegie Mellon University actually has a bridge which is connecting the arts building to the science building, and the bridge is called the Randy Pausch Bridge. Beautiful tribute to him, and you must check this book out. And the last book on the list is basically any of Jim Corbett's books about his experiences in Ramnagar, in Jim Corbett National Park, which is the national park right now. I have recommended this before, and this is one of those writings where you are transported into the jungles as written by Jim Corbett. There are multiple books in this. You can pick up any book, The Temple Fortress, there are a bunch of other books. You can pick up any book written by him. They're very short books, 150 pages, not very long, but they're first-hand account of how Jim Corbett was experiencing the local tribal people, what superstitions were present in the hilly people, how he navigated the concept of a man-eater tiger, how he killed those man-eater tigers, how those tigers became man-eaters, all of those things. It's fascinating. Like, the stories are fascinating, and they're written in such a beautiful format, in such a thrilling format, that you actually feel you are reading an actual thriller novel. So yeah, that's a book that I would highly like to recommend. That was the list, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video till here. Do subscribe to my channel. I would be posting a lot of interesting content around books. Thank you so much for all the love and support that you have always shown me. That's all for this video. See you in the next one. Bye bye.